You could ask anybody what the meaning of history is and watch them confidently tell you, history is the study of what has happened in the past. But for a professional historian, history is beyond just the study of any past, and it's not the study of the entirety of past activities. History, derived from ancient Greek historia, inquiry, knowledge acquired by investigation. Before we dive into what is history as an academic discipline, it's important to examine what people say to mean history, which actually did not qualify the true meaning of history as an academic discipline. Many people see history as storytelling. Some say it is the story of the reign of kings and queens, while some people refer to history as the story of the rise and fall of kingdoms, chiefdoms, and empires. Some other people even refer to history as the study of the past through mere speculations. Now let's delve into what history means, from its etymological meaning to the concept of history as an academic discipline. As earlier said, the word history comes from historia, ancient Greek historia, Romanized historia, meaning inquiry, knowledge from inquiry, or judge. The Greek word was borrowed into classical Latin as historia, meaning investigation, inquiry, research, account, description, written account of past events, writing of history, historical narrative, recorded knowledge of past events, story narrative. History was borrowed from Latin, possibly via Old Irish or Old Welsh, into Old English as stair, history, narrative, story. But this word fell out of use in the late Old English period. Meanwhile, as Latin became Old French and Anglo-Norman, historia developed into forms such as histoire, histoire, and history, with new developments in the meaning account of the events of a person's life, beginning of the 12th century. Chronicle, account of events as relevant to a group of people or people in general, 1155. Dramatic or pictorial representation of historical events, circa 1240. Body of knowledge relative to human evolution, science, circa 1265. Narrative of real or imaginary events, story, circa 1462. However, history as an academic discipline is the study that deals with a continuous, typically chronological record of important or public events or of a particular trend or institution, produced based on critical examination of evidence and logical interpretation. There are certain keywords essential for the concept of history. First, chronology, the arrangement of events in order of time. This helps us understand cause and effect relationships. Next, evidence, anything that can be used to prove or disprove a claim or hypothesis. History is based on evidence. Then important or significant events. Historians do not study all past events, they study the relevant ones. Lastly, interpretation. Here are important definitions of history according to revered scholars of history. According to E.H. Carr, Edward Hallett Carr sees history as a continuous interaction, a dialogue between the present and the past. According to J.F. Adejayi, history must be understood in its two folds. First, as the reality of past events, and secondly, as the effort of historians to capture or retrieve and interpret something of that reality. R.G. Collingwood defines history as the interpretation of traces and relics from the past in the light of the imaginary idea of the historian, which is self-depending, self-determining, and self-justifying form of thought. Arthur Marwick explains the definition of history from three distinct levels. First, history refers to the entire human past as it actually happened. Secondly, history is man's attempt to describe and interpret the past. Thirdly, history is a systematic study of the past. Arthur Marwick also defines history as the bodies of knowledge about the past produced by historians, together with everything involved in the production, communication of, and teaching about that knowledge. According to G. Barraclough, history is the attempt to discover, on the basis of fragmentary evidence, the significant things about the past. Akinjogbin explains that history is an organized critical study of such past activities of human beings as had produced significant effects on the subsequent course of events. It is not just a study of the past, nor is it an uncritical cataloging of significant past events, or the study of all past events. The Encyclopedia Britannica defines history as a discipline that studies the chronological record of events, usually attempting, on the basis of a critical examination of source materials, to explain events. John Jacob Anderson says history is a narration of the events which have happened among mankind, including an account of the rise and fall of nations, as well as of other great changes which have affected the political and social condition of the human race. Lastly, W.C. Seller and R.J. Yateman view that history is not what you thought, it is what you remember. All other history defeats itself.